Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, Fresh and Easy is accepting returns on a product they don't sell. We'll tell you why.
Then if a state law is repealed, your dog may be in danger.
Plus, we'll try to settle the debate on whether or not to eat red meat.
And the library looks for a few good men, women, or anybody with an opinion. These stories and much more are just seconds away.
Your local news starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Jin Chun.
And I'm Ben McCain. Thanks for joining us. Here are your top stories. Dubbed pink slime, the ammonia-laced additive found in ground beef has recently caused a frenzy among consumers. About 70% of all beef products contain the processed beef trimmings, which takes the last traces of meat found on cattle bones, exposes it to ammonia to kill bacteria, and removes most of the fat. But after a social media attack and a scathing report by ABC News, stores like Vons and Albertsons have pulled the additive beef from their shelves, and now Fresh and Easy is offering to swap ground beef purchased at other stores for their own pink slime-free ground beef. Fresh and Easy says it does not sell the ammonia-treated beef and will accept trade-ins equivalent to the amount being returned, up to 2 pounds.
Here are some highlights from the most recent City Council meeting. The Finance and Governmental Operations meeting on April 3rd has changed its meeting time to 4:30 p.m. The meeting's purpose is to discuss the quarterly budget. Councilmember Bill Sutherland encouraged the public to attend the meeting, which takes place in council chambers. Council approved changes to the city's rapid bus program. Since 2008, Torrance has operated the program in the South Bay for the county. The Santa Monica Big Blue Bus and Culver City Bus are also part of the program. The new service will run east-west from the South Bay Galleria to the Long Beach Transit Mall. Transit plans to implement the new service this summer. Council has also approved the allocation of rapid bus funds to go towards the cost of Transit's natural gas compression buses. 8 alternative fuel buses have been purchased for a cost of $6.4 million. The entire cost of the program comes from federal grants and not Torrance's operating budget. Councilmember Susan Rillinger will be the city's voting delegate at the Southern California Association of Governments General Assembly, or SCAG. SCAG is the nation's largest metropolitan planning organization, representing 6 counties, 191 cities, and more than 18 million residents. The group undertakes a variety of planning and policy initiatives to benefit Southern California.
The first 7 graduates of the Veterans Court in L.A. County were recently honored after undergoing mental health treatment and regularly appearing before a judge. The court helps veterans whose lives have collided with the criminal justice system. If a judge's criteria includes steady employment and sobriety are met, charges can be dropped or reduced. Now, the court started in 2010 and accepts veterans facing felony charges ranging from theft to drug possession. Veterans whose offenses might be linked to their service are eligible. Treatment is provided by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs.
If you've ever had a great idea for the public library but never knew how to share it, here's your chance. Reporter Alexa Sita tells us more.
If people could have one thing to make their life better, what would that be?
Hillary Thayer is talking about Torrance public libraries. Since the beginning of the recession, public libraries across the country have become increasingly more important to the community. Today, many libraries are seeing their purpose change from just lending books to becoming gathering spots, computer centers, and even places to research employment opportunities.
What we're looking for is niches we can find in the community where the library could possibly help fulfill that need.
So the Torrance Public Library has created a series of focus groups to find out just what residents want at their local library. All ages and levels of interest in the library are welcome. The hour-and-a-half discussion is relaxed and non-judgmental, but participants should be prepared to talk.
People will answer surveys and we can gather a lot of demographic data, but sometimes in a small conversational setting, people will elaborate on some of their thoughts that they wouldn't normally take the trouble to write on a survey or type online.
Alexa Sita, Torrance CitiCABLE.
The next 2 focus groups are Wednesday, April 4th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday, April 13th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. at the Katie Geisert Civic Center Library. For more information, call 310-618-5959 or visit the city's website at torranceca.org. peacecorps.gov. Coming up, we'll tell you why getting your dog licensed is more important now than ever.
And we'll explain why not all red meat is bad for you.
Peace Corps is a life-defining leadership experience. Volunteers live, learn, and work with a community overseas for 27 months, providing grassroots assistance.
Peace Corps is special because volunteers get to work firsthand with community members. We build personal relationships. We are in the homes, we are in the community centers, we are in the organizations. We are just amongst the people, making decisions with them, interacting with them on a daily basis.
After the 2 years of serving the Peace Corps, I feel like I have brought something to the table. Looking back and seeing what I have given, I can honestly say that I've received 10 times as much back.
Explore how the Peace Corps can fit into your future. Be a volunteer.
Watch the full PSA at a screen near you. Visit peacecorps.gov/be.
Hey Mom, here's something. Peripheral arterial disease. It's pain in your legs when you walk that goes away when you rest. Isn't that what Grandpa has?
Yeah, it says it's diagnosed with a simple blood pressure test, and there are medications and treatment options.
But if you ignore it, it can lead to amputation.
And increase your risk for heart attack and stroke.
Grandpa needs to go see the doctor.
Poor circulation is never normal and increases your risk of heart attack, stroke, amputations, or death. If you have pain in your legs when you walk, see your doctor. Find out if you have PAD.
I believe that home is where your pet is.
And that loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you spay or neuter your pets, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
Because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend at a shelter. And you can too.
We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
Visit ambassadors.bestfriends.org.
Named for State Senator Tom Hayden, Hayden Law is a benefit to pets and their owners, but the future of the law is in jeopardy. Reporter Christy Wilcox explains.
With a multi-billion-dollar debt, California is still looking for a place to cut spending.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was plenty of money, but they have to cut something.
Last week, the California Budget Committee voted against the repeal of Hayden's Law. The law was set in 1998 to help shelters keep animals alive for an extended period of time before they're euthanized.
They have to hold it a minimum of 5 days if there's no ID, microchip, 14 days if there is ID on the animal.
The committee is set to revisit the budget issue along with Hayden's Law on April 11th. And if the bill gets repealed, shelters will only have to hold animals without their tags for 72 hours before they're euthanized.
I think there's a good possibility that the law is going to be repealed and go back to the original state of holding the animal for 72 hours. Unfortunately, the state has no money. Cities have very little money, and they're trying to make budget cuts where they can.
Animal control can't stress how important it is to make sure your dog is registered or licensed, because if the Hayden Law gets repealed, little guys like these ones may only have 72 hours in the shelter before they get euthanized. According to the ASPCA, only 10 to 15% of animals without proper ID are returned to their owners. And because of proper IDs, Torrance Animal Control has returned more than 2,300 lost pets to their owners.
We'll hold it at our office probably from 1 to 3 days. Ideally, we want to find the animal's owner instead of taking it to the shelter.
A repeal would put $25 million, or less than 1% of the state budget deficit, back on the table. Either way, some still think it's good practice to be proactive.
Yes, very important to make sure your dog is registered. That way you can make sure you get him or her back. So, and then hopefully lobby for more money for the state, or maybe they can allocate a little more funds.
That was Christy Wilcox reporting. There is an online petition to prevent the Hayden Law repeal. You can visit change.org for more information. And whether or not Hayden Law is repealed, it's still important to have your pet registered and microchipped. For more information, contact Torrance Animal Control at 310-618-3850.
Therapy dogs help the sick and the disabled, but they can help regular kids as well. Reporter Christy Wilcox tells us about a program that gives some students a captive audience.
Cole, Brooks, and Izumi are fourth graders at Riviera Elementary, and Thursday's reading class is a time they never want to miss.
But then we found you, said Buff. That's right, said Biff. Now I am a pocket dog again.
In fact, it's their favorite day.
I wish I could do it again.
You wouldn't think students would be that jazzed about reading, but this program helps them build confidence.
It's not really a human. He's not a human, so it makes me feel that I'm reading to myself more than talking to the whole entire class.
Izumi Ando is talking about Peaches and Guinness, who are two dogs in the BARK program.
BARK is what promotes literacy for children. It stands for Beach Animals Reading for Kids.
BARK volunteers go through an 8-week training program with their dogs. Once they graduate, they become certified therapy dogs, where participants like Cindy Johnson can take her dog to schools to help children become better readers.
I get my blanket and I put it out and I let them choose a book, and then after they're done reading with Peach, they get a sticker and a stamp.
And at the end of the day, kids just feel better.
I wanted a dog. His mother said a dog is too much trouble. Well, sometimes I just come over to her and just hug her and kiss her. I really love her.
Sometimes these kids may be having a hard time that day, and just getting a big hug from a nice big dog, or any dog, it doesn't have to be a big dog, can make their day.
The BARK program has been around for over 4 years. It is currently in about 70 schools and libraries, and there are about 106 participants right now. For This Week in Torrance, I'm Christy Wilcox.
Thank you, Christy. The BARK program is looking for volunteers. If you'd like to participate, call 562-235-8835 or visit them online at bark.web.officelive.com.
Long before news of the pink slime additive broke, many Americans have been leery of consuming too much red meat. But a new study says that being a carnivore may not be a bad thing. Reporter Ella Sagamonian explains.
Carnivores can really appreciate a good burger, and protein is important to the diet. But how harmful can red meat really be to your body?
The Harvard School of Public Health has released a study compiled over the past 20 years on the negative side effects caused by red meat consumption.
I think that we've always known that eating red meat will bring in a lot of saturated fat to the diet, and saturated fat in turn will cause an increased risk of heart disease, and now it's mentioned that it might even cause an increased risk of cancer.
Although health risks can be severe, there are factors to consider before completely cutting out meat from your diet.
I would also have them look at how much red meat are they eating. An adequate amount would be 3 ounces, but if you're going to a restaurant, most likely they're going to serve you in excess of 8 ounces.
Along with portion size, it is important to eat lean cuts of meat, avoid cooking at high temperatures, and keep processed meat to a minimum.
So when we think of processed meat, you'd have to consider all the different types of smoked sausages, cold cuts, and that has an increased risk of health risk because it has additional sodium, additional fat.
But it isn't easy to break a habit.
I eat what I like kind of thing. So, I mean, I work out a lot too, so I kind of counteract with that. But I like to enjoy what I eat. I'm not going to, deprive myself from something that I like.
I consume red meat just about every day of the week unless my wife cooks fish.
For those wanting to create a more balanced diet, going cold turkey and cutting out red meat right away might not be the best move.
Look at how much your total consumption is for the week. If you're eating a daily amount of red meat, then cut back to 5 times a week, and then reset your goals to 3 times a week. But going cold turkey, I think, never works for anything.
Despite negative side effects, red meat does contain beneficial nutrients, but these can also be found in other foods.
Picking from nuts, from soy product like tofu, all in its least processed fashion, would be a good replacement for meat. You'd be getting protein with minimal amount of fat.
And as for red meat cutting a lifespan short, Dr. Nessel explains.
Whether or not it shortens lifespan, they say that it increased the risk of death by 13%. But in the end of the study, that is equivalent to 1 year less of life. So you have a choice of living to 79 or 80.
So you can literally love red meat to death if a year's difference doesn't faze you. But it is crucial to consider portion size, preparation, and weekly intake to avoid serious health issues. For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Ella Sigomonian.
For more information on food plans and the amount of protein you should consume daily, visit choosemyplate.gov. Coming up, if you're wondering what to do with your kids during spring break, we'll give you some suggestions.
The strongest families are built one moment at a time. For more ways to make every day count, visit facebook.com/makeeverydaycount.
When I grow up, I want to be a psychologist or a therapist.
I want to be a pediatrician.
I was hoping to become a chef someday.
I want to own a big house with a convertible and the jacuzzi and the pool, all the good stuff.
Role models, they don't tell you what to do, but they help you to go where you're going.
I want to study law. I don't want to become a lawyer. I want to become a CIA agent.
Young people, I think, do need a mentor because, we don't know everything. And, all the people, they've experienced stuff that we haven't.
I would like to be a baseball player. As long as there's somebody behind you, pushing you and supporting you, then you feel that you always have the strength to keep going.
Well, I would like to become like a doctor. That's my first choice.
Sometimes you feel down and you feel that no one really understands and no one knows like where you're coming from. And it's great to see someone who's been where you are now and, making it.
So get involved and do your part. Invest in the future. Mentor a child.
What disables more children than Down syndrome, spina bifida, or fetal alcohol syndrome? It's a birth defect virus called cytomegalovirus, or CMV. CMV attacks 1 in 150 babies born in the U.S. 1 in 5 of those babies will suffer lifelong disability. Get the facts. Learn how to protect your unborn child. Visit cmvfoundation.org.
If you're a parent with a child ages 6 through 11 or a teenager, here's a way to ensure that they don't get bored during spring break. Kids and teens can participate in spring camps at Greenwood Park starting on Monday, April 9th to Friday, April 13th from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Campers will participate in indoor crafts, outdoor games, and walking field trips, and extended care is also available for both fun camp and teen camp. For more information, call 310-618-2930.
And if you don't want to sign up for a full week of activities, kids of all ages can drop by a city park where recreation staff will be leading and supervising activities and crafts at no cost. Children should be accompanied by an adult. Participating parks will operate Monday, April 9th to Friday, April 13th from 12 to 4 p.m. Some parks may close in the event of rain. For participating parks and more information, call 310-618-2930. And that's going to do it for us on This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain.
And I'm Jin Chun. If you've missed any portion of our show, you can catch us again at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.